Well, now on this video, I'm going to share with you 5 steps of creating what we call the generational wealth. And if you do not know what exactly is that, show me an African business or somebody who is black and has a business that has been in operation for the last 100 years. But then, have you ever asked yourself, have you ever seen an Indian business that has been there? That business has been inherited by different generations. You know, that business started like 1906, 18 or whatever, and something of sort. And also you go to the Jews, they do the same. You go to some of the Arabs, they do the same. But when it comes to our beloved African continent and also the black community, so why do we have, or why don't we have this generational wealth? You find, by the way, have you ever seen this kind of a case scenario whereby you find there is a guy who started something? This is the genesis of that great thing. For example, let's say this guy was born in poverty, and that guy came up with a banking system. He has a bank in operation. And then all of a sudden, when the guy disappears, obviously because we ain't gonna live in this world forever, the guy just goes, the business crumbles. The guy has left a very big real estate. Then the guy goes, the business or the investment crumbles. What exactly do you think happens? Because there are some of the steps that we usually skip when we are creating our wealth. And let me tell you one secret. I know I may talk about the generational wealth and maybe you're earning 15,000 a day or a month. You'll be like, what is this guy talking about? Can I even be able to make generational? Yes, you can. Anybody can actually be the genesis of the transformation. For example, if you come to Kenya, that is the Kenyatta's family. The Kenyatta did the something that he left the wealth for the generations and the generations. Yeah, I know this may bring a lot of controversies. I don't know, corruption, whatever the point is. The point is, okay, fine, let's use the Coca-Cola. The Coca-Cola, the guy who invented the Coca-Cola. Up to date, we still have the Coca-Cola. I think it was invented in around 1800. Up to date, it's still there. The guy is not there. The kids and the kids of his or hers, whoever invested the thing, still eating and enjoying the thing and enjoying the brand. All right. So how exactly do you do that? Depends on whatever you are doing. If you're selling spare parts, if you have a small dispensary somewhere, if you have whatever that's a small business it is, it can actually shoot up and become one of the greatest thing. Now, point is, how do you create that specific thing? That's what I'm going to talk about today. And by the way, don't forget this. My name is Joseph. Talk about investments and money at all the time and any time, and upload a video each and every day. And if you don't want to miss any of my good video, just make sure that you subscribe to this channel and make sure that you like this video. Subscribing, just hitting that small button out there. Hit it down, okay? So that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new good video. So now the very first thing that you're supposed to do if you want to create a generation of wealth is to actually come up with a what? You come up with a brand. Come up with a brand or create a brand. In short, that's what I'm saying. Okay. When you say you create a brand, what does it mean? For example, let's say this Good Joseph. Good Joseph is a brand. For example, I take it to a point whereby I say, hey, guess what? Anything you hear Good Joseph is about financial literacy, is about investments and the businesses. The moment the Good Joseph is, for example, there is a certain bank in America called JP Morgan. JP Morgan. It is a name of an individual, but if you go to America to random people and say JP Morgan, what comes to their mind? Banking. They know that's a brand. Higher, for example, say something like KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. What is it about? It's about chicken. All right, that's a brand. When you say something, so what can people relate you with? All right, that's a specific thing. So the point here comes with, you have to create a brand. You have to create that thing that people knows you with. For example, if you come to Kenya and say comedy, people are associated with Churchill. Churchill is is a guy called Dambuki, is the genesis, the godfather of the comedy in Kenya and such kind of a thing. So you have to create that brand. You know, you have to create that brand in the sense that whenever somebody announces or says it, everybody can say, he's talking about the banking system. He's talking about the family. He's talking about, you get what I'm saying? So you have to create the brand. And when I say creating a brand, that's not mean that you have to shift from, no, just go ahead, stick to that thing that you're doing right now. Stick to that thing. You don't have to complicate it, and be proud of your name. Some of the brands that we have are actually associated with our names. If maybe you say you're selling spare parts, just call that name of yours. And if you feel and believe it's actually unique, and let that thing sink into people and tell them this is who and who, this is whatever, this is who and who and whatever sounds. And that's why you find when Indians buy, let's say, something like a tractor or an excavator, whatever, they call it Singha and Sons. That's the reality. That's how they call it, because they don't only see it, they do not only see it as them consuming the product. They also see that product being consumed by the generations to come, from their generations to the next and the next and the other one. All right. So creating that specific brand that you know it's gonna be there and people can actually associate with it. And all the time it's good to brand yourself so that the people can associate yourself with that specific brand. Now, what do you do after creating that specific brand? You go now to the next level or doing something called, you test it and retest it. Okay, testing of the brand, test and retest. What does it mean? You make sure that at least you know what you are doing. For example, there are areas that you need to adjust. This area is not working. Adjust on the other area. Pick another thing, incorporate it. Bring some people on board. Bring some other expertise on board. For example, you see, there is something called scalability of a business. How to scale down your business. You see, for example, you're running like, say, a salon, and maybe you're making hair, and maybe you're charging maybe say 2,000. You can only maybe handle like 3 people in a day or 5 people in a day. So meaning that you have the potential of making 10,000 by yourself. But if you are to bring other people on board, then if you are to bring more people on board, then it means then whatever that, if you're charging 2,000, they make with that 2,000. You subdivide the money. They get 1,000 bob, I get 1,000 bob. So my business has the capacity to serve more people at the same time. That's a reality. So that is called scalability. You scale down your business, and if it is possible, you can automate your business. So make sure that at least you test that what you believe on. You know, there is a difference between conceptualizing an idea in your head and selling it to your heart and believe it is the best without actually putting across out there where people can actually, you see, people are the one who gives you the response, or they tell you, hey, this one is not working at this specific area. I think you should change on this specific area. I think if you adjust here, because these people are the people who give you the feedback and the responses so that you can keep on improving and modifying that specific thing. And for example, if you take any brand from whatever the country that you're watching from, I'm going to use maybe something like Safaricom in Kenya. That thing hasn't been the way it was like 10, 15 years ago. It has been modifying itself. It has been testing and retesting, testing and retesting, employing expertise so that at least they can assure by the time, hey, they're actually shifting this specific franchise or maybe specific brand to the next generation. They already know what to do and that kind of a thing. So you having this one-man show whereby you cling by yourself and you don't want even to get tested and all those kind of things. And people usually fear by the time you discover something, you put it across there. They fear. For example, say I did not get the courage to go ahead and stand before a camera and record these videos. Probably you wouldn't even know where I'll be in existence. But today I decided to take that bold step of making this video and sharing this information with you. And obviously, it was not the best when I was starting. I wish you can go and watch my like older videos back then. You can just see, well, I was trying up, I was filming, or somewhere there was a background noises and all those kind of things. Again, I'm not saying that I'm perfect right now. Probably I'm gonna be watching these videos in 5 or 10 years from today. I'll be like, oh my goodness, what was I doing actually on that board and writing and all those kind of things. So what you do, you keep on, because I never even had this board. I never even used to have it, but I just used to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. You get the thing? So we keep on adjusting ourselves, we keep on improving ourselves. So the second thing is supposed to test and retest that specific brand. If it works, good enough. If it doesn't not work, it's at a time you drop it and pick another one as you progress to the next level. Now you go to the next thing, which is called the modification. See, modification of that specific brand that you took. It can be a business. You can realize, hey, guess what? Maybe you are doing this. Maybe you can adjust something here. For example, if we were to rely on the very first car that was discovered, I don't know, it was around 1800 or something of sort. You can always check it out, that one. But if you were to rely just on the car that we were given as the first one, obviously we won't be having the best cars that we have today. And obviously I'm not saying that what we have today is gonna be the best like in 10 or 15 years from today. No, we keep on adjusting, we keep on being out there. Comfort zone. See, in short, I'm saying do not be there in a comfort zone. Okay, if your business is doing good, think of what you can be able to do. What other services can you actually incorporate into that specific thing, so that at least, for example, let's say maybe you're having a podcast somewhere. Do you consider maybe having a website somewhere? Do you then maybe consider coming up with your app? Maybe do you consider maybe coming with something? So you are supposed to be always on the go, always on the go. Otherwise, if you relent, you might actually realize some other people are coming and passing you, standing out there. And it's always good to make sure that at least if you're starting a photography business, make sure that at least you move with the time. If you realize there is a new trend in town and you're being left behind, adjust with the trend, adjust with the trend. If you realize you cannot be able to do so, then bring on the younger people who are coming up with the new ideas, so that at least you can move together. For example, nowadays, if you go to towns, especially in Kenya, you find these young people with those soft box and all those Godox things, and you are taking pictures, they're taking images, very nice images and such kind of things. And then we have another generation of older people still with their old cameras with some funny, what we call, see, it's good to adjust as the time goes, so that at least you can remain relevant as you grow up in this life, because that's the reality. So that at least by the now time you go to the next level, which is number 4, now it is coaching your kids, yeah, which is coaching your kids, coaching your kids, letting them know exactly what you're doing. For example, I was shocked by the time I was having a certain conversation with a certain lady. She told me, Joseph, I'm shocked. I asked her why. My daughter asked me, you know what, Joseph, My daughter didn't know. My daughter actually asked me. You know, I'm a real estate individual. I invest in real estate. That's what she was telling me. That is, yeah. And the daughter asked her, "Mom, do you mean like you have some houses which you give people to live and then they give you money?" And that lady was shocked. She was like, "I thought my daughter would know that by default. I mean, I have them." See, I asked her, "Have you ever maybe like sit down and talk to her and tell her that you're in real estate and you do?" They don't. You see, it's quite funny the way Africans do their things. You might find or realize that you're very successful in a certain business. You're very successful in a certain, you're very good at real estate. You're very good at businesses. This thing is actually working. You know all the nitty-gritties. You know where to get the suppliers, the distributor. You know everything in and out of that specific business. And then you are pushing something different from the to the kids. Maybe you're just, maybe you're like education oriented. You're just pushing that specific thing. There is no any time that kid has ever showed up to your business, even spend a day with them so that you show them how to handle customers, how to sell, how to organize. Have you ever been to an Indian shop and then you realize when the schools are closed, they have their sons, their daughters there with them, selling with them, serving the customers, and you can even realize sometimes you cannot even know whether they are daughters. They're just walking around and actually serving people and such kind of a thing. So you bring them forth, you bring them on board, you actually show them how exactly this thing are ran, so that at least by the time you get off, because and we've agreed here with you that one day you're gonna face off in this world, and who's gonna take that specific thing? Can you imagine you amass all that big empire, about that big real estate, about that production plant that you have, about all that machineries that you're selling, and then when you face off, then you, when your old age, when you, to you it's obvious that you're about to go, then that's the time you're bringing them on board. And again, or maybe before even you do that, you start, you know, sort of saying, hey, these children of mine are not even thinking, they cannot even see what I'm doing. How can they even see, but you have never even brought them on board? You don't even discuss on exactly what you do. Let's say I'm a producer and I have children, I make these videos, I tell the kids, say, guess what, this is what I do, I make videos, and you can as well, if that's what you're good at. And by the way, this is how you manage this is how you manage your time, this is how you upload, this is how you edit it, all those kind of things. So if you do not do that, then how exactly do, because honestly, but it may sound crazy, but it's a reality. I am looking forward into future where people or children will be inheriting YouTube channels and TikTok accounts and Facebook channels as well as Instagram channels. That is true. There are some people who eat and drink from the social media. Let's say, for example, you have a virtual store. You are an affiliate. You do drop shipping, for example. Okay? Seriously, let's say you have a very serious website whereby clients come there, and you have a very huge number of editors, and maybe you have a very huge number of, you know, people who do software development and such kind of things. So it's a virtual thing, but obviously you have to leave it to somebody. So people, those are the things that people will be inheriting. See, back then people used to inherit the tangible things, the shambas, or we call them the pieces of the parcels of lands, the animals. Nowadays people are inheriting the social media things. It is true. If you have a very big YouTube channel that is bringing you quite a huge of revenue, and maybe you upload some, you guys, you get what I'm saying. It is good to look for 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years from today. And it's quite funny whenever you go to summits of the world where people are planning about 40 years from today, you don't even see any African representatives. You think about the next general election because you're thinking about going and stealing the general election for you to be the next president. And whenever you get that thing, you don't even think about the 5, 10, 15 years. It just, you know, the moment you get elected, you think about how you're going to be re-elected again. You see, that's kind of a thinking is what is actually not only bringing the entire black community backward, but also is a thing that is actually affecting a lot of people in terms of even our economies and such kind of things. Okay, now we go to the last one. The last one is that have a system that works. Simple. Have a system that works. You see, have a system. When you have a system that works, it means that, hey, you're going to be there making sure that you follow up and such kind of. Do you know, by the way, you can have a business that is actually sort of like you're employed to your business. For example, do you know right now as you speak, no matter where the KFC is, no matter how remote it is, in any given country or continent on world, the headquarters know how many sales were brought in from each and every branch that they have. They know everything because before they start franchising, that probably will be like an additional point on number 6. You franchise your business. The moment you do that for the purposes of scalability and reaching people out there. So if you cannot be able to franchise your business, there is no way maybe let's say a Total or Shell can give you a franchise of starting the same similar petrol station or gas station, depends on how you call it, without them having an existing system. You must first of all create a system. Once you create a system that actually works, now you can tell them, hey, guess what? If you'd like a franchise of our business, this is how we do the licensing, this is how we do the other thing, this is how we do the other thing. So that at least by the time they are seated somewhere, KFC headquarters, they already know, hey, today we brought a sales of let's say 2 million, 10, 50, whatever the amount of money is. So you already know. And the taste of that specific chicken, whatever it is, you know, when you eat it in whatever the city and town and country and continent you are in, the taste is still the same. So actually making sure that you you know, sort of import or export that specific taste with the same ingredient and all those kind, that must be a system. So if you do not have a system, that you must be there for things to work, I am telling you, even scaling that business would be the hardest thing that you can ever have in your life. It is good to make sure that you have an systems working, so that at least you do not have, the business can exist without you being involved directly. So if you can be able to separate yourself from the business, then at that particular point, that's when we say you are an entrepreneur. But still, if you can still cling to that business, and guess what? Today I realized a lot of losses because I did not show up to work. You do not have a system that is working, and that is the problem. Guess what, guys? That marks the end of my video. But don't forget this: I should upload a video each and every day. And if you don't want to miss any of my good videos, make sure that you hit that like button as well as subscribing. Comment down below, tell me what you think. And by the way, for now, it's a goodbye. See you the next one.